Well, that didn't go well. What the heck happened, man? All right. Sorry about that. Note to future self: do not touch this little area. Too hard. It's gonna disconnect everything, and everything gonna go black, and you can't get back. All right. Country Pete here. Oh wait, sorry, Will here. All right. What I was getting to is if you have an iPhone, bless you and thank you. Steve Jobs thanks you posthumously. Tim Cook now thanks you. And I'm going to thank you because when I have clients who are iPhone users, what I find as an iPhone user is that I can use this thing called a voice memo. And if they've watched my video on iPhone user, if you don't hate people do this, then you know how to keep voice memos from disappearing, which will make you hate the people who send them. But why people send voice memos? And I had this there's this local agent, brokerage that just hates me because I communicate with those weird disappearing messages. But here's the deal, guys. I walk from a meeting to a meeting, and I don't have time to hop on a quick call that is inevitably 10 to 15 minutes. And then there's follow-up information that has to happen. But I can send you a 1 minute or less voice memo to give you context, to give you depth of vocal field, and so that you know that, that's not possible. Need to close next week. Isn't, hey, turd, like we're not doing that. Like, you suck, you're a bad human being, and everything you think is stupid. It's not that. It's me saying, hey, we can't do that. Here's the deal. The sellers are moving into their next house, and so that closing had to be synchronized, and so they're closing on this house, and that, so we can't move the closing date. Sorry, but that tone disarms what happens in our heads, which in our heads, we take all of the hurts inside of our hearts. We take all of this thing that informs how we think the world thinks about us, and we read that text or read that email in that. We do. It happens. Happens to me. Probably happens to you. And so expressing with asynchronous communication in ways that allow the hearer or the listener to see or hear adds a ton of nuance to our communication. It's how we can utilize asynchronous communication in a human way. And what I would argue, or what I would put in front of you and say, is that while I do think that asynchronous communication is a key to you living a healthy and fulfilling life, that's not the only key, but it is a tremendous part of that. I also think that a healthy use of asynchronous communication can tee us up for a deeper level of enjoyment with our face-to-face interactions. Because if our face-to-face interactions aren't conflated with these meaningless drivel of communications that happen, with every sales call that calls, every vain and meaningless, how are you? I'm good. How are you? I'm good. What'd you do this weekend? Oh, cool. It's meaningless. It's drivel. It is literally without any purpose other than social niceties. When we can get that and get the fact that every time your phone rings, there's a 50 to 90% chance it's someone that bought your number from a company so they can sell you something. If we can get that and just strip it away from our interactions and just put all of that behind us, the fact that people are trying to steal and lie to you constantly, and we can just put that away. My hope is that our face-to-face interactions can become as life-giving, as important, as meaningful as they have been to generations past. I don't mean last generation or the generation before, maybe. I think it happened, but I think that this drift into technological laziness and undisciplined living has taken hold, and it's now what my generation has inherited. Is just this idea that if I'm not reachable, I'm not valuable. If you can't get a hold of me like on demand when you have a problem, that's my problem and I'm out of here. No, what you need, what people need is to know what to expect. And so if you can reach out to your clients, your market, your whatever, and set expectations, and then work to take the mental bandwidth, the stress, all of these things that are freed up by you being able to control your schedule and invest in your priorities. If you can take that you freed up and invest it well, and then with the time that you spend with people, either communicating on the phone, text, email, whatever it is, if you can give a deeper level of care, a deeper mental focus, you can listen to their problems, listen to their excitement, celebrate with them or grieve with them, and be with them. My hope is that we will find our human relationships flourish in the season to come. But I am increasingly convinced that without a reassessment of asynchronous communication, we can't get there without being hermits and monks, without cutting cords and just walking away and saying, forget it, I'm punting this. Because if you're a real estate agent, if you're an insurance agent, if you're a lender, if you're insert profession, oddly enough, just kind of all around the real estate space, then your most of the time cell phone number is publicly searchable to everyone in the world. Like, that's insanity. And you carry that thing around in your pocket. And what, like literally someone in, trying to think of a country that I don't love, like, but let's just go with Bangladesh. Someone in Bangladesh can Google your number and like text you. Like, that's crazy. And that's just okay. And so never mind like what their purpose is, what they need, if you're qualified to speak to it, if you're underqualified or overqualified, like regardless of anything, there's no cost associated with it. They can just shoot a message and you just lost focus. You just left your attention residue all over it. And I think that that's just it's an inefficient and it's a lacking way for us to live. So let's jump in full Nelly into saying, how do we take text messages and emails and give life to them? How do we, one idea is voice memos for text messages or, for WhatsApp messages, and BombBomb, Loom, these video services for emails. Like, let's give some life to those asynchronous communications. Let's schedule rigidly. I've known about time blocking for 18 years now, and I have done it well for like 5 of those years. Why? Because in my mind, I have a scarcity mindset and I have a fear that if I'm not doing X, if I'm not available, if I'm not whatever it is, like, then I am not valuable. And if I'm not valuable, then will there be income? Will I be able to feed my family? All of these insecurities that I feel like, literally, I feel like my hair is raising even as I verbalize that. All of that can drive us to flee what we know is good and right and worth doing to the things that are immediately rewarding. Dude, let's not do that. Let's not be subject to the loudest squeaky wheel. Let's live prudent, well-ordered, planned lives with margin, which margin, by the way, is where spontaneity happens. It's where so much of the meaningful stuff in life happens, but you can't have margin if you're not planning and executing your plan. So I hope that this has been at least interesting, at least entertaining, and if not, inspiring and helpful to you along your way. This doesn't have an awful lot to do with real estate, buying or selling, or investing, but I hope that it's something that you've taken value from. And I'll get these 2 videos stitched together. And so in the future, it'll just be a good 40-minute live stream replay. But in the meantime, if you're still here, subscribe, comment below, tell me something you loved, something you hated, tell me I look funny, whatever. Just love to see your comments. And let's do this again sometime. Be well.